Hi everyone, Yasas to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my updated version of Tsoureki, which is a Greek Easter bread that's fluffy, rich, delicious. It's going to fill your house with the most wonderful aroma, and I cannot wait to share my newest tip with you. I came up with this recently and I cannot believe that I hadn't thought of it sooner, but this little trick is going to make it so much easier to make this bread. You won't have to wait for it to rise because we're going to do it overnight this time. Let me show you how we do it. Let's get started. Okay, we're going to begin by making the starter. Do not skip this step because if the yeast is not activating, you're going to waste all of your time and energy, and I don't want you to do that. So do this the same exact way I do it each and every time. Trust me, it is worth the extra 8 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever it is. So in a bowl or your KitchenAid mixer, go ahead and add half a cup of lukewarm milk, a tablespoon of active dry yeast, a teaspoon of granulated sugar, and 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour or bread flour, whatever you're using. Whisk it up just slightly and then set it aside, and you'll know that the yeast is good and fresh and ready to go if it creates a nice foamy cloud on top. That's how you know that the yeast is active, and this step is so crucial. Please do not skip it. While you're waiting for that, you can prepare all of the remaining ingredients. So in a big bowl, go ahead and add 4.5 cups or 720 grams of either all-purpose flour or bread flour. All-purpose flour will give you a more cake-like consistency, and bread flour is going to give you the traditional stringy consistency that if you want to think of a croissant but much denser and richer, like a Tsoureki, that is what we're going for with bread flour. If you don't have bread flour, you're just going to have to knead it a little bit longer. Then we're going to add 1 cup of granulated sugar, a tablespoon of ground mahlepi. These are mahlepi seeds. They're also known as mahlab in the Arabic stores. They're so aromatic, and without this, you can't really get a traditional Tsoureki flavor, so please don't skip it. You can either grind them in a mortar and pestle, or you can use a little food processor or a coffee grinder to get them pretty finely ground, just like this. You're going to need 1 heaping tablespoon of this. Put it with the flour, a half teaspoon of salt, and then some mastic gum, also known as masticha. These are the little kernels, and they're very sticky, so you're going to want to grind these with some sugar. I already have some in this jar. Otherwise, you would just put it in a little coffee grinder, equal amounts of sugar and mastic gum, and just grind it into a powder, and then you can use it. If you use too much, be careful because it'll make the Tsoureki a little bitter. So just a 1/4 teaspoon is all you need to get that aroma and the perfect flavor. You can whisk everything all together, and then we're just going to work on the remaining ingredients, which are the wet ingredients. So we're going to need some more milk, 3/4 of a cup of lukewarm milk. Make sure that the milk is always lukewarm. This is going to help the rising process. 2 eggs, and you want those to be lukewarm too. The zest of an orange. I actually added the orange zest into the flour. That's what I do from now on, so just don't put this with the wet ingredients. The dry ingredients are better. And then add 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. Whisk that all together. And we're just going to combine everything now in the mixer. So add all the dry ingredients to the mixer with the milk, eggs, and vanilla extract. And then a whole stick or 4 ounces of butter. So unsalted butter is what we're using. You want that to be nice and soft too. I used to just put 2 ounces of butter, but 4 ounces makes it so much better. So we're just going to knead this on low speed for 10 minutes if you're using bread flour. If you're using all-purpose flour, you want to go all the way up to 15 minutes. If your mixer starts to struggle and overheat, you can turn it off and just transfer it to your work surface and knead it by hand, or give your mixer a little break and then do the remaining 5 minutes. We're going to transfer this into a bowl that's been lightly greased with either butter or olive oil, and cover this with plastic wrap. And now this needs to double in size. That takes a long time because this is such a dense dough. So I have a few tricks for you. You can use my dryer trick, which is on my website. It's on my Tsoureki baking guide. It's a lifesaver. You can warm up a pot of boiling water just like I did over here. Just make sure you put a plate over it and turn the heat off underneath the pot. And then you can place the bowl on top of that. My favorite time to do this is at night because then you don't have to wait all day for your dough to rise. So knead this all together, put it over the pot at night, and just go to sleep. And in the morning, it's going to have doubled in size, and you'll be ready to make a fresh batch of Tsoureki. Once it has doubled in size, whether you did it in the daytime or at nighttime, it's totally up to you. Transfer the dough onto your work surface, your counter, wherever you're making this, table, doesn't matter, and cut the dough into 2 equal pieces. We're going to cut each portion of dough into 3 pieces so that way we can braid this together into a braid. And the braid is so easy to do. We're just going to roll each rope out to about 12 inches. Don't make it too long, otherwise they won't really hold their shape and they won't be fluffy. And then we'll transfer the braids onto a baking tray that's lined with parchment paper. Loosely cover it with either a kitchen towel or with some plastic wrap. And then this needs to rise a little bit. We're not letting it rise until it's doubled in volume, just until it's nice and puffy. So if you let it rise too much, then it's gonna lose its shape. So we need about 30 to 45 minutes. You can use the dryer method again, or you can put it over the pot like I did earlier. This doesn't take that long, so max an hour if it's really cold in your house. In the meantime, preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Once it's risen, we're just gonna beat an egg yolk, 1 or 2 egg yolks with an equal amount of whole milk, whisk that all together, and brush the tsoureki loaves all around so that way when they bake in the oven, they get that beautiful mahogany color. These are gonna bake on the center rack for 30 minutes. Take them out of the oven, and it is important to let them rest for another 30 minutes so that way all that steam settles and they're perfectly cooked. They're going to continue to cook a little bit while they sit at room temperature and cool, and then they're ready to serve. Serve this with a hot cup of coffee, make extra and give these out as gifts. It's up to you. And if you are putting an Easter egg in here, like a dyed Easter egg, you could put it in at the time that you're braiding them. So that's a little tip that I forgot to add. And that's it. The tsoureki is ready. The overnight rise really does make making this bread so much more manageable. I get so many messages from you guys every year around Easter time with questions on how to make the tsoureki that same day. It's not one of those things that you want to make the same day until now, of course, just because it takes so long for it to rise. This is a very rich dough with all the butter and eggs and everything in it. It just takes a long, long time to rise. And if it doesn't rise, it's not going to be fluffy. It's just going to be a hard little hockey puck. And that's not what we're looking for. We want it to be fluffy, delicious, and just perfect. And it's going to smell so good too. I really wish they made candles like this. And if they do, if you guys know of any company that sells candles that smell like tsoureki, please share it with me down in the comment section. But back to the bread. This just is so good. I know a lot of people, like I said, like to make it fresh the day of Easter, and now you can because you could let it rise overnight just the way we did. Even if it's cold, if it's hot, doesn't matter. By the time you wake up in the morning, it's gonna have perfectly risen, and that is the trick to making fluffy tsoureki. If you like cake-like tsoureki, just like I said before, use all-purpose flour. And if all-purpose flour is all you have and you like that traditional stringy texture, then just knead it longer. And when I say longer, I mean much, much longer. If you can knead it 5 minutes longer, I know sometimes the KitchenAid mixers are gonna start making weird sounds, they overheat. So give it a break and then wait a few minutes and let it knead again. Or you could take it out of the mixer and knead it by hand, get your kids to help. Especially if you're making a bunch of these, it is gonna be a little bit of work, but it'll be totally worth it. Some people like that cake-like texture, so then you don't have to worry. Another thing that's gonna give it the stringy, really good texture that tsoureki traditionally has is bread flour. So if you have bread flour, you can go ahead and use it. That cuts the kneading time a little bit, so that way you can just work less hard on it. I don't like to work too hard on things, so I share the tips with you. Another thing I can't believe I didn't think of earlier is the boiling water method. Now, keep in mind that if you put the bowl in the pot while the water is boiling, it can kill the yeast and start to cook your dough on the bottom, and you're not looking for that. So get the water nice and hot. You can put a plate on top to kind of adjust the temperature, and then put the bowl with the dough over that. And then as the water cools, you could remove the plate and put the bowl directly into the pot. Well, not directly, let it lean into the pot. My dryer method is my favorite method, but lately my dryer has been acting up and I can't really use it. That's how I came up with this. I tried so many other methods that I've read about online, and then this just came to me and it works. So I hope you guys give this recipe a try. Let me know what you think about all the tips and tricks. If you have any other ones, please share them with us down below. I did share a tsoureki baking guide on my website, which has the most popular questions that you guys have asked me. I answer everything and I keep updating it each year with new things and new tips. So you can check that out on the website, dimitrasdishes.com. You can head on over and read it. I'll post the link down below. Let's do the taste test. So perfect. Those flavors really bring me back to my childhood and they make me so happy. Just give me a warm, fuzzy feeling inside. It's delicious, it's fluffy, it's rich, it's perfectly sweet, just the right amount of sweetness if you ask me. You can taste the orange, but the mahlepi and the mastica really give it that traditional flavor. I hope you guys give this recipe a try. The full recipe and everything is on the website with all the notes. If I forgot anything, it'll definitely be on the blog post. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I'll see you all next time. Yes, sis.